How's it going, everyone? My name is Falling Hearst, and today we're going to be talking about Scorn once again. I actually just recently put out a video covering absolutely everything there is to know about Scorn. Well, today we're going over yet another one of the monthly dev diaries that Ebb Software has committed to doing each month until the launch. And while this is going to be a smaller video, as in the last video I covered all 5 that have been out up until this point, there is only one this time around. However, there are some crucial bits of information here, so go ahead and stay tuned and let me know how excited you are for Scorn, or any other games like this that you'd like to maybe see me cover. If somehow, someway, the thumbnail or somehow this video gets recommended to someone who doesn't know what the game is, it is a first-person, I don't want to say shooter, it's more walking simulator with shooting aspects as well as puzzle solving, and really heavy emphasis on body horror and grotesque biopunk type things. But anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the Pulse monthly update number 6. And as each update up until this point has talked about a different aspect of the game or perhaps the development of the game, this one it will be about the weapons, or more specifically, the tools that the player will be using. They talk about how the survival horror of Scorn will be amplified by the fact that there are weapons rather than the lack of weapons. And what I mean by that is in the conceptual stages of each weapon type, they had to figure out what the use of the weapon was, as well as how much ammo it would hold and how much ammo could be found throughout the world. The scarcity of ammunition and even the restrictive inventory space, think something like Resident Evil, or maybe even just how much ammo you can actually hold, they actually talk about how this will significantly impact short decisions regarding the fight or flight response that all humans have. So again, as I previously stated in the last video, very interesting that the game is meant to make you feel certain ways without telling you to do something. For instance, in Outlast, as much as I love the game does tell you to run and hide. You know, flight, never fight. Or in something like The Evil Within, you cannot progress without fighting most of the time, where sometimes you can sneak past enemies, but you know what I mean. In this game, it's really up to you to decide. And these interactions change the way that you, as the player, feel about the environment and can invoke feelings of tension or discomfort. Again, something I pulled directly from this, and everything they're saying makes me really excited, because this is one of the few instances that I've ever seen so much in-depth dev talk of exactly what I like to hear. Another thing they go over is just how exactly they created the designs, the concepts looking very bio-organic, and how eventually they went from a low poly model that was only used for testing, which eventually, once it was polished, was put into a high polygon model and actually implemented into the game properly. Another interesting quote that I found from the Pulse update was the weapons in Scorn are mostly there for optional tools for progression. Humans have a strange relationship with their tools, especially weapons. How a player or character's behavior changes when they obtain a tool is an interesting underlying theme that I've kept in mind during development. Which again, this is playing into the player's mentality when playing the game, something that isn't strictly a jump scare. Really, everything I'm hearing here, this could be a great atmospheric game in a lot of ways, and something that really does build a lot of tension. They're saying all the right things, we just have to see if it pans out. But continuing on, the weapons are relatively standard in terms of functionality, but this was an intentional element of their design. Adding recognizable gun types into the game, such as a pistol, shotgun, or grenade launcher, can influence how players perceive them and, ultimately, how they are used. It's always a delicate balancing act between the strange and the familiar. Again, something like this, you'll always use the bigger weapons like the grenade launcher or the shotgun in larger enemies or boss type scenarios. Again, I'm not actually sure if there are bosses in the game. I could probably see it though, but overall, the functionality of these weapons is pretty apparent to me, and through the gameplay, you can see just how they work for the most part. And something that I did pick up on in my other video was confirmed here as well, and that the first tool that the players encounter is the most important one, and that's the melee weapon, which also doubles as a tool to interact with various mechanisms found throughout the game. Again, this was something that I picked up on, and well, I was a little ahead of the curve on that one. It was pretty clear for the most part, but supposedly this is one of the most damaging weapons that there is. Now, I know this hasn't been so much of an update on anything too important, but there is one really big piece of information left, and that's at the end of each of these Pulse updates. They do a little bit of an overall development update, kind of giving us an idea of where the game's at. And they said, we've been asked this month if we're still on track for our October launch, and we are. So this is really big news. So far, the October release date is staying. We don't have an official date yet, but we do know it's October. So that's a pretty good place to be. And it's plenty of time, and as long as they think that they're still on track, that's good for me. They say that the creation of the remaining static meshes is coming to a close, as the production is progressing quite well. However, they do say that the animation and visual effects are currently the biggest focus, and the teams are busy ironing out any bugs and finalizing everything. So full steam ahead for the October release, and then they do say something pretty interesting here, that they'll be excited to show off more of the game soon. Now, with the Xbox Showcase coming up on June 12th, you can look forward to probably seeing a brand new Scorn gameplay there, seeing as how it is an Xbox console exclusive and a day one Game Pass drop. But that's really it for the update. There's not really too much to go over here, just a little more insight on the weapons and potentially when we're going to be seeing the game. I know that's speculation on my part that it'll be at the not E3 on June 12th, but that's probably where you're going to see it at the Xbox show. And with Xbox saying that this showcase will be an emphasis on gameplay, I do expect to see a decent trailer, as well as, more than likely, the announcement of a release date, if everything they're saying in this Pulse update is to be believed. If you're excited to see a breakdown of whatever trailer will be shown then, or even the next Pulse update, a smaller video like this, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be here for those videos, and if you're excited for the day before, the open world zombie survival MMO, or the Outlast Trials, the multiplayer Outlast game, go ahead and subscribe for those as well. They'll have coverage, as well as the Sons of the Forest, the sequel to the survival game The Forest. Anyways, I'm Falling Hertz. Thank you so much for watching this video, and yeah,